Back here, first things first, we're going viral. Monday night, Bradley Beal committed one of the most, well, check it out, egregious travels of the NBA season. I think he took 9 steps. The official NBA referee account tweeted out, the offensive player gathers with his right foot on the ground. He then takes 2 legal steps before losing control of the ball. After regaining possession, a player is allowed to regain his pivot foot and pass or shoot prior to that foot returning to the ground. Thus, this is legal.
They said it was legal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you disregard those first 3 steps, watch this. 1, see, because they didn't say he picked up his dribble. So, oh, that was just a move. That was like a hesitation.
Listen. And then, obviously, this is not legal. If it were legal, you could just hot potato the ball up the court.
Right.
You just inbound the ball and tap it to yourself and run to the basket.
That's funny.
Now, referees last night came back out and said, listen, that was not legal. That tweet was wrong. I'm going to start a side business, see?
Well, you should, because you got your master's in basketball. You
Absolutely right. Absolutely. I said not a PhD. I think you got a PhD in pass catching. I said I think I have a master's
Come on, if you
in
got
basketball.
a master's in something, come on, I'm out of the damn school.
I said a PhD means you're out of school. Not the point. Let me finish with the side businesses for a moment, for a second, please,
Wait, we're
Chris
working
Carter.
on this all morning.
Hold on a second, see?
Let him get it out.
I'm going to open a clinic of people who all of a sudden open prominent Twitter accounts, how to deal with criticism. Because what happened was NBA refs, whoever runs that account, saw Complex Sports was laughing at them, and they were like, no, I'm going to respond. We're actually right. Hey, man, if you're going to be out there in the public eye on Twitter, people are going to send you mean, nasty, awful things. You just got to let it.
That's what I say. Don't worry about what anyone says about you on Twitter. Don't be affected by it. Don't be offended by it. Don't be hurt by it. Let it just roll off your shoulder. Okay, moving on. Time for stories
Jenna,
to start
the last thing
morning.
you said last segment was a lie about Buffalo. The first thing this segment was a lie. Let's see if we can get the rest of the way with just truth.
Epic, I have feelings, you know. Epic comeback for number 2 ranked team last night. They were down 23 to Louisville, less than 10 minutes to go. Guess what? They won this game. See, how big was this for Zion and company?
Oh, it was good for the young players. That's what I love to see them struggle, because it's going to help them in the NCAA tournament. This was a game typically that we see one of the top 5 teams. They go somewhere in January, February, and they end up losing. Louisville's a tough place to play. They're trying to change that program back around, but these young players hanging in there. And I like what Coach K told them when they were down 23, I don't coach losers. And they went out there, these young kids, and they played some great basketball, especially the last 10 minutes.
Zion, 27-12, despite foul trouble. Cam Reddish was extraordinary. He was the biggest reason they had to come back. R.J. Barrett had a rough night. Even though Louisville's in transition, that is a tough place to play. And 23 points in college basketball, that's like 35 in the NBA. That is as good of a comeback as you will see in college basketball all year long.
All right, let's move on to the Lakers now. They lost to the Atlanta Hawks last night. LeBron and company under 500, announced it at the 10th seed in the West heading into the All-Star break. What do you think, Chris? Was last night rock bottom for the Lakers?
Oh, no. No, they got levels they can go under.
You think it's still coming?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think they out the woods?
But
just because of break?
Hold on. Up to this point, is it rock bottom? Is this the lowest?
Well, it's just like after the earthquake. You say, what was worse, the earthquake or the aftershock? Okay, because there could be some other things that come out of this. They can't sustain another injury. What if LeBron gets nicked the rest of the way? They could also fire the coach. Like, I don't know if Brian Shaw is respect for B. Shaw as a basketball and what he knows about basketball, but is he the right mix for them? So, man, yeah, it can get worse.
Oh, I agree it can get worse, but the way I thought the question was, up to this point, is this the worst it's been?
It's a matter of interpretation.
Exactly. Difference of philosophy, as some would say. Up to this point, this is rock bottom for the Lakers this year.
Finally, with Kyler Murray entering the NFL draft, some people thinking he could reunite with his former quarterback coach Cliff Kingsbury. While he was still coaching in college, Kingsbury said he would take Murray first overall if it were up to him. Well, as the head coach of the Cardinals, he now has the top pick at his disposal. But yesterday, Kingsbury reiterated Josh Rosen is their quarterback of the future.
Yeah, no doubt. Our feelings towards Josh haven't waned or changed or anything. I get we have the first pick, and so there's going to be a million scenarios over the next 3 months that are going to come up. But no, Josh is our guy, and you know, Kyler's a tremendous player, and I said that was being very complimentary before we played an opponent. And I understand the soundbite, but like I said, there'll be a ton of scenarios that come up before we get to the draft.
Yeah. there'll be a ton of scenarios and whatnot because you made that comment.
But you got to hold on. But keep in mind real quick, they were about to play him. And if Texas Tech was about to play Ohio State, you know what I bet he would have said about Dwayne Haskins? Man, if I had the #1 pick of the NFL draft, I'd take him. I don't think it's fair because it's the head coach complimenting the opposing team before the game.
Funny how it all
of course. Now he is the head coach of the team with the #1 pick, of course.
So what do you think? CC, let's start with you. Should the Cardinals pick Kyler Murray first overall, even though they already have Josh Rosen?
Absolutely not. No, Josh Rosen's going to be a good quarterback if they protect him. I mean, they can't allow him to get sacked the way he did last year, but, Steve Keim, who I know there's a general manager there, I don't believe he would have taken Kyler Murray. So regardless of what the coach said before he got there, no, they can't use that pick on him because that would have meant that they were wrong on Josh Rosen. And you got to get out there ahead of this because those quarterbacks are sensitive. You think wide receivers are divas. You better put out a press release. You better have your head coach say, hey, man, we don't want this guy because you need to because I saw Josh Rosen at the end of the season. Man, he needs a friend. He needs a compliment. He needs some confidence because the confidence he had at UCLA, he lost that in his rookie season. Now, that is very typical of rookies in the NFL, but can he regain that confidence? Can they put an offense around him? Will they protect him? So I think the organization did the right thing. Kyler Murray shouldn't be the first pick in the draft of the Arizona Cardinals because they have a quarterback and they have plenty of other needs.
And listen, Josh Rosen had about as poor of a rookie season as one can have. Probably the poorest rookie season for a starting quarterback we'd seen since Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, by the way, then immediately turned things around when they got a left tackle, when they all of a sudden started protecting
but
and got him some weapons.
But there's still a lot of people got questions about Jared Goff.
Oh, 100%. And people have, even I was very high on Josh Rosen coming out of college. I'm not going to throw him out after 1 year. But you can't say you're reassured by what you saw after 1 year. But this is what C said's totally correct. This is what Cliff Kingsbury has to say, even if they're considering it. Even if Steve Keim came to him and was like, you know what, I watched the tape, I saw the same thing you did. The way you have to find out Josh Rosen's not going to be the quarterback of the team anymore is the day they trade him. Like, as long as he's on the roster, you have to be committed to him. The best case for Arizona is not drafting Kyler Murray #1, is that there is a team that desperately wants to draft Kyler Murray #1,
make the most of that.
and you can trade down because Arizona needs everything, see? Like, I mean, what's the spot on the Arizona Cardinals other than running back that you're like, you know what, I think they're set at? I feel like they need offensive linemen. Defensive linemen would help too. They've got a great running back, a great corner, and an aging Hall of Fame wide receiver. They got David Johnson, Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald. Everything else. So they need one. Nicky Bosa would be great for them. What they could really use is a couple first-rounders and a future first-rounder. So they should talk up Kyler Murray or behind the scenes, hoping someone wants to trade up for him. But they can't take him, or else Kyler Murray going to have the same. He's going to be playing for the same team Josh Rosen played for last year. A team that spent their first-round pick on a quarterback, didn't supplement the rest of the roster enough, and has the same type of struggles.
All right, let's get back to basketball now. And a must-watch game last night, Sixers and Celtics. So many storylines here. No Kyrie in this one, still nursing the knee. Third quarter, close game all night. Jason Tatum throwing down the dunk. His teammates love it. What's not to love? To the fourth now, Sixers down 2. Joel Embiid gets the three-point play the old-fashioned way. They go up 1. 30 seconds to go. Sixers down 2 again. Oh. Embiid not happy with that call. Here we go. Marcus Smart splitting the defense for the dunk, and the Boston Celtics and all their dysfunction win this one 112-109. Here is Brad Stevens on his team turning it around.
Good teams have clunkers, but good teams respond to those with the right effort and approach. I just thought the whole night we played the right way, and we tried to stay within ourselves, and we didn't get too high or too low, and we fought. And, that's what you have to do to have a chance to win.
At the end of the day, it comes down to guarding our own man. So that's what we have to do. These guys that take advantage of, when we do help and move the ball pretty well. So we just need to do a better job of guarding our own man, starting with me. And do right for his suck.
In reference to the
missed call,
non-call. Yep. All right, Nick, what did the win tell you for Boston? Who did it, by the way, without Kyrie Irving?
This is a great win for them. They are coming off 2 stomach punch losses. You're up 18 against a Laker team that clearly can't find itself. You lose that game at home. You're up 28 against a Clipper team that is trying to figure out who they are without Tobias Harris. Yeah, the Clippers outscore you by 39 points in the final 28 minutes of that game. You lose that game at home. You then go on the road against a team you very well might play in the postseason, a team that has been brilliant at home all year. Only the Denver Nuggets went into last night with a better home record than Philly, and you beat them without your best player. And the Celtics, even though all the on-court, off-court splits tell you they are better with Kyrie, and they are better with Kyrie, they're now 8-2 without him. So they have been able to find a way to win, which I know is important to you, C, because you don't think Kyrie's the type of player that is, you can just say, oh, he's not going to be injured again the rest of the year. You just mark him down in stone to play every game once he comes back from this injury. So all of this is really good for Boston. They got one more game before the break, but had they lost this game, they were going to go into the break, I feel, questioning themselves a bit. Now I feel like they can say, you know, the Clippers game's inexcusable. But Rondo, if he just misses that, we've then won 12 of 13. We're feeling good. Or 12 of 14. We're not overreacting the Clipper game. So a really important, good win for Boston, and very happy for Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward was special in this game, shooting the 3, hit
6 of 7.
6 of 7 from the 3-point line. But I just like his energy. I like the sets that they ran for him. Very, very similar to the people doing the telecast talked about how the sets were very similar to some of the sets that he had in Utah. In Utah, he was far more athletic, dribbled the ball a lot more as far as getting the action started on the offensive end. They haven't been able to do that because he's not as athletic, but they had some good sets for him. He got some good looks, knocked down some shots after missing that first 3-pointer that he went to. So for me, when you have a player that's been as talented as he has, go through a horrific injury, where it was one incident. It wasn't he had a season and a half, 2 seasons where he couldn't play basketball. No, he had one bad injury that took away his confidence and took away some of his explosive ability. So for me, it's important to get good memories inside of his head so he sees himself doing great things. So when you go to the video room, you don't see yourself stumbling up and down the court, not having the type of explosion that we have seen in the first half of the season, that he's shown us that, no, he's not the same player. But if he can play like this, coming off the bench, because he wasn't a starter, and I think that adjustment, more starting, him coming off the bench, if he can be their 7th, 8th best player, man, the Celtics are going to be a dangerous basketball team.
And Joel Embiid can complain about the refs, and I love Joel. And listen, it was a missed call at the end. But Joel Embiid, what he's got to figure out more so than the refs, because that's going to happen, is why Al Horford gives him so much trouble. Al Horford gave him trouble in the playoffs last year, in the regular season last year, throughout this regular season. When you have a game where Embiid takes twice as many threes as free throws, that's a testament to the guy who's been guarding.
Yeah, I think his game plan against Al Horford is the wrong one, because it's either all or nothing. He is either in the restricted area, trying to go through Al Horford, muscling him, or he's the 25 feet and at the 3-point line. You can't do that to a player like Al Horford. Now, Brad Stevens does a great job of, they're not going to double team Joel Embiid. So Joel has to be able to figure out, how can I get to that mid-range point? Let me start my offense there, and I can take a J here, or I can try to get into the paint, into the restricted area. I think that would help him. But being 25 feet away from the bucket, he's not necessarily the threat, because every team in the NBA wants him to shoot threes compared to backing them down low.
LeBron shouldn't be taking 10 threes in a game. Joel shouldn't be taking 8 threes in a game. Period, point blank. And both those things happened last night.
Big win for the Celtics. No Kyrie.
No Kyrie.
Coming up, could Luke Walton have coached his last game